between October and now, I've gotten 4 interviews.
So we're
So
just gonna have like a quick conversation, and the major purpose of me, scheduling this call really is just to hear about your journey basically into getting into data analytics, and really just to inspire so many people out there who are trying to like do exactly the same thing you did and obviously achieve exactly the same thing you achieved. Hi, Mr. Bimbola, thanks so much for joining on the call. And the major reason why I decided for us to jump on this call really is just to talk about your journey. I know you recently got a data analyst role sometime in December, if I'm not mistaken.
yes,
And
yes.
yeah, I just want to like get your just to your brain basically, and yes, some of the things you did differently on your application, what you did differently during the interviews, and what ultimately helped you land this particular job. And I'm going to start with the first question. Obviously, I know we did a training together back in was it August, September? Yeah, I think August, September last year. And
Yes.
just wanted to hear your thoughts about the training itself. What do you think about the data analytics training with Tech Drive? Did you think it was any useful in your journey towards getting into data analytics?
Yes, it was really, really useful. The fact that all the trainings were recorded, it really, really helped. It really, really helped me. So I was able to go through the recordings the time that I had to. It was really good. It really, really helped me because I know coming into this country, I came to study data analytics, but most of the things that we did in uni, it wasn't. We didn't do anything practical like that. It was just
Yeah, more
theory.
theoretical.
So it was nothing really practical. So Tech Drive gave that practical experience, hands-on experience of using all those, all those major tools that you need to become a data analyst, which is required for every job role that you want to get as a data analyst. So yeah, the Tech Drive really, really helped with that hands-on experience.
Absolutely.
And going through those recordings, it really, really helped. So, and I think I remember I jumped on a call with you sometime, I think just like few weeks after the training, maybe a week or 2 weeks after the training. I remember I jumped on a call with you on Sunday, and we just talked because I knew it was challenging for me,
Yeah,
considering the fact that my visa was this visa status and all that. So I was just,
yeah,
a lot of things were running through my head, and I said, okay, let me jump on a call with this man and just get some tips on what I can do. And there was something you said. You may have just said it casually. It might not just be, but you said that I can be practicing, and at the same time I can be looking
planning.
for a job. So I think
Absolutely.
you said that thing casually. I don't think you were particular, but you just said it casually, and I took that thing. So I was practicing, and I
I'm
started
applying
applying. I started applying October, to be precise. I
Nice.
gave myself the I think the training ended around, was it
Yeah, I
mid
think
September?
yeah,
Or
mid
was
or
it,
end September. Yeah.
yeah, around mid or ending. So I gave myself like 2-3 weeks. I was just like going to the videos, practicing, and then I said, okay, now I need to start applying.
Applying. Nice.
So I started applying. I was applying on Indeed. So, but I didn't know some of my applications were just going to waste. So I was
Yeah.
applying on Indeed, and it was just like, ah. So later I realized, no, this is not this is not
The
good,
right
because
place
I
to
wasn't
go.
getting any response. So it was
Yeah.
that bad. And I said, okay, let me start going to different websites, start applying on the major websites of
Major
some
websites.
companies. So I just started applying, and I remember um, there was a job that I applied for. It came out that same day, and this particular job that I got now,
Yeah.
it was on October the 16th
Okay.
that it came up, and I just applied for it. I said, okay, I'm just going to apply. And you said a few things during the training which I didn't get, but through the recordings I was able to
Recording.
get all those, like,
Yeah.
telling us that, don't just focus on one place, because that's the good thing about data analytics. It helps, it gives you that flexibility. You're able to
True.
work from anywhere.
Anyway. True.
So I wasn't focusing on one place. I was just applying to different parts of UK. And this job came, and when I saw it, it came that same day, and I applied immediately. I said, let me
Immediately.
just apply. I just did some tweaking on the supporting statement and all that. I just did that and I applied. And 2 days later, the job closed down.
Wow.
And I
So
was wondering, 2 days. So
can you
the job
imagine?
opened on the 16th, and they were saying, oh, it will be open till the end of October. 2 days later, the job
It was
closed.
offline.
It was offline. That's
Wow. Interesting.
I was like, okay. And then I think about a week later, or I think 2 weeks later, yeah, about a week later, I got a mail saying I've been shortlisted for interview. I said, okay. Now before that time, I had already applied to some other places. I got an interview.
Yeah.
I got an interview with one company. In fact, when they called me for interview, they said, "Okay, can you interview the next 2 days?" And I'm like, "In next 2 days, what are you people doing?
Wow.
What are you talking about?" So I was, in fact, when I went for that interview, I knew, "Nah, I'm not going to get this job because I wasn't fully prepared. You
Fully
know,
prepared. Yeah.
yeah, they asked me some questions, and because I haven't had that experience. Questions like, okay, so when you I mean, like, what were the things you did in working on this data set? And I just told them, I cleaned the data, and the guy was just looking at me, was just shaking his head, like, I didn't tell him how I cleaned the data. And these
Exactly.
are
You just
things
said
that
you
people
cleaned, and that
people
was
really
it.
miss in interviews. You
Mm.
need to tell them, okay, if you say, okay, you clean the data, how did you clean
How
data?
did you
What were
do
the
it?
challenges you faced in cleaning
Mm.
that data set? And
Interesting.
how did you solve it? How were you able to conquer those challenges? What were the tools that you used? Was it VLOOKUP you used to join the tables together? What were the challenges you faced? So I didn't say all those things. I just said I cleaned the data.
And that was it.
And the guy was just looking at me, and I said, he said, we'll get back to you. And it was just so a
Wow.
week
Wow.
later they go back to me and said, no, I didn't
You
meet.
didn't
So I
pass
was
the
just like,
interview.
okay, well, life goes on. And
Exactly.
um I got the interview. I got this job that I'm about starting now. So I got the interview,
Yeah.
and they gave me a lengthy time of 1 month, which was even good.
Prepare. Mm-hmm.
So in the middle of that, I got another interview with DHL.
Wow.
I did the interview, and they didn't get back to me. It was like, I think a week after the interview, they just said, no, you didn't qualify for the next stage. But in everything, I thank God.
Absolutely.
Because I believe that, well, I'm speaking for my own faith. I don't know about anybody else, but
Yeah.
God is an important factor in everything that we do.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
so I knew for those jobs to not have worked out.
Mhm.
It wasn't what God wanted me to do.
Absolutely.
So, but finally landing this particular job, thanks to the interview prep we did. The interview
Yeah.
prep was an eye opener. The tips you
Mm-hmm.
just gave me that day, like, this is
Mm-hmm.
what you said, this is what they ask you. This just already one of the mails they sent to me. They already told me, okay, we'll ask you questions around this. So
These days, they
so
really help.
we going through all that in the interview prep. It was really, really amazing. And they
Oh.
asked those questions, and you know I was interviewed by three people. And I was just sitting there like, okay, what do I want to say to these three people? And considering the fact that it's a very big organization where it's like five different networks, and you have three people that are interviewing you,
It's
and you're wondering,
from
okay,
those
what do I
areas.
want to say to these people? you know but it
Yeah.
was good. Um they asked me, like, okay, so what was the what was the project that you embarked on? What was the challenges you faced? And I
Mm-hmm.
just started to tell them, like, okay,
So this time around, you went into more details.
yeah, I went into more. In fact, I can say in fact, the moment I answered that question, they didn't bother asking me any more questions.
Any follow-up
They,
question?
they just told me, yeah, you know what, you've given, in fact, you've answered like two questions that we had in mind. You've already
Wow.
answered those extra two questions
Wow.
just in
Wow.
that question that I asked. So I think this is very important. And if anyone is going for an interview,
Mm-hmm.
um you should focus majorly on, they will definitely ask you, okay, what was the project? They can ask you different ways. What was the
Mm-hmm.
project you embarked on? Or they could say, okay, in fact, the way they asked me that question, they were like, what was the thing you can say that you achieved? What was your greatest achievement that you say you are proud of? So imagine asking that question in that way. So you should be wise enough to know that yes, definitely they want you to talk about a project that you embarked on and the things that you did. What were you assigned to do in that project? Were you
Exactly.
assigned to clean data? Were you assigned to analyze the data? What did you use to analyze the data set? Go into complete
Details.
details, So, and that's what I did. I did that for about, the interview was 30 minutes. I did that for 15 to 20
Wow.
minutes. Yeah, I
Wow.
was
Just
just
a
completely,
question.
yes. And just in the interview, they will ask you, they can ask you, okay, how is your education background? Believe me, all those things are not important. They are
True.
just go into 1 minute, 2 minutes, just talk about that briefly and go straight to the point. Go straight to the point. And that's what I did. I went straight to the point and I hammered on every single, and
Every
they were
single.
like, by the time I finished, they just told me, thank you so much for these full details you've given to us. That in fact you have answered 2 other questions
That we're
we
gonna ask.
intend to ask you. And
Ah,
that was it. I did that interview on a Friday, and Tuesday they called me. Just a few days later, they called me and they said, you did exceptionally well. We are happy to give you the job.
wow.
And that was it. And yeah, and that's how we started. In fact, as I'm speaking to you, I got another job interview yesterday.
Okay.
Another job interview
Interesting.
yesterday. They just lined up. They've asked. They told me all the questions they want to ask me already. So
Wow.
they told me these are the questions we're going to ask you in the interview. So
Honestly,
it's,
when we jump on that interview prep, and you sent me the email that was shared with you, and I'm like, who organized an interview? I already tell you the kind of question they would
I'll
ask
tell
you.
you
I
the
mean,
kind of thing. This one I got. This one I got
yeah.
now. They just
Mhm.
said we'll ask you questions around this. But you see,
Wow.
this one I got yesterday, they
Very
went straight to the
specific.
point. They are asking 6 questions and they put it there. These are the questions we are asking you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm like, where's this?
Wow, 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 wow.
So it's no,
That's
no,
quite
no.
interesting.
It's
And to be honest, I think from our conversation, I said I had 4 questions to ask you. You've already answered 2 of those questions too already. So
wow.
it's probably going to be very, very, very short. So one other question I just want to ask is, in you landing yourself a data analyst job, and based on your experience applying for jobs, going for multiple interviews, what are the statistical or data analytics tools you think are most important to help land a data analyst job here in the UK?
So the most important tool is Excel. The
People are going to
most
argue about
the
that.
most important tool is Excel. They might tell you, okay, we need. They'll tell you, okay, we need additional experience with Python and maybe with Power BI. But Excel is the most
Most important tool.
important. It's the most important tool. I don't want to know. I don't want to know the job. Any job. Just just know that in your mind that Excel,
Yeah.
any test they are going to give you, it is Excel 90%. I don't know if it's 95, but I am sure of 90% of
90%.
any competence test, anything is Excel. So I will really advise that if you want to start your journey as a data analyst, you need to make sure that you get hands-on great knowledge
Of
in
Excel.
Excel.
That,
Yes.
that, that,
So
that, that's really key.
Excel and Power BI. So Power BI for data visualization. So if you can work on those 2 things, some companies don't use SQL. Some
True.
companies like this place, this way where I'm working, where I'm about starting now.
Yeah.
They say okay, you need Excel and R.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but the R is not even is not an essential criteria. So, and
Exactly.
that's one thing that people should try to do when they are trying to. If you want to apply for a job, check for the
Mhm.
essential. The companies have essential criteria, and they have
Undesirable.
the other type of criteria that are not essential. So, non-essential and essential. Go through everything and see. You see what the company actually needs. But from my from my experience with the interviews, at least I've between October and now I've gotten 4 interviews.
Wow.
So with my experience, with my experience, Excel is a very important tool that you need to
Nice.
know.
Nice.
Very
Thanks so much
important.
for that. Yeah. To be honest with you, I mean, just this month alone, January, I've probably done about 16 different interview preps. I mean, I have 2
Wow,
today after this call,
wow,
and most
wow.
of them they come back saying they test me on Excel. I mean, very few of them come back and say they were tested on SQL. I mean, a
Yeah,
few of them got
it's
tested on
Excel.
SQL.
It's
It's
Excel.
majorly
It's
Excel.
Excel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because SQL, it's like you don't have access to the company's database.
SQL
So
Server,
the
exactly.
is you have the chances of you being being um
Tested on it.
being tested on SQL is very slim. But
Yeah.
Excel is major, is major.
Major.
You'll be tested on it. I don't want to be, you will be tested.
Yeah. So I think the 3 people that got tested on SQL this month during their interview prep,
Okay.
I mean, for some weird reason, I've never heard of this before. They were actually given
Okay.
questions on SQL and were required to write SQL codes. And I'm like,
Interesting.
who does that?
Uh-oh.
Like they have to write SQL code, but obviously they don't want them to have access to their database and all of those interesting stuff.
Yeah,
Anyway,
exactly.
anyway, that's fine. So the last question I probably wanted to like just talk about is, so let's assume I'm an aspiring data analyst. I want to get into data analytics here in the UK. What would be your advice to me, basically?
So if you're aspiring to be a data analyst, I would it doesn't matter what your background is, whether it's care, whether you were working in a care home. I used to work as a support worker before I
Same
got this
here.
job.
Same here.
So so it doesn't matter your background, okay? Just be determined. Get the right people that can train you. I'll recommend Tech Drive 100%.
Thank you, boss.
A place where you get the skills and then you also get all the necessary assistance with documentations and all that you need. I will really recommend, and this is what many people are missing out on. People go to university, they study, I did data analytics, then you come out, then you start looking for a job and you're wondering nobody's calling you for a job. And the reason is because you don't have those hands-on experience with the tools. That's first of all. Secondly, most companies will require reference. They want to see a history that, okay, you've worked, they want to know that, okay, there's a track record that you have, that you've worked in a place, and you need to be able to prove that. So that's what they need. And these are the things that Tech Drive provides. They'll give you a reference to, if you want to get a job. Tech Drive is always there to back you up and say, okay, yeah, we know this person is competent, this person is reliable, this person knows the job. So, and these are very important things that everyone that is aspiring, this is what they need. So, joining a training, I recommend Tech Drive 100%, or any other training that they feel that, okay, they want to get into, but just get into that training so you get that support, and from there you start. I remember when I started, because of the nature of my job, I was like, okay, but I was going through the recordings, and that's the good thing about Tech Drive. You have all access to all the recordings, so I had to just go through the recordings, and taking all those tips, some little tips that you put in the recording. I just take them, and I apply all those things, and it's been really yielding great results. So anyone that is aspiring to become a data analyst, I would really recommend that they join, a training platform that can assist them, and not just a training platform, a community of data analysts as well, where they can get more knowledge, more understanding, and knowing how to go about interviews, how to maneuver around things like that. So yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Bibola. I mean, I had to drag you on this call, even though I know you're very busy. Thank you so much for sharing that experience. And I think this is really going to inspire so many people who are trying to get into data. And one of the questions people have always asked me is, are you sure this data analytics space is not saturated already?
I'm like, that's one of the things I used to think, like, how is it possible? When I watch some of the videos, okay, somebody got an interview, and I'm like, how? But going through that training with Tech Drive, it now seems easy, because now I know what to do. And within a short space of time, I've gotten 4 interviews. There is one that I've not even accepted, that one that came yesterday now. So I'm still thinking, should I accept it?
Or not? Can you imagine?
Or should I let me just do the interview? And that one is a senior analyst role. Is a higher higher information. Yeah, it's a senior analyst role. So I'm just like, okay, maybe let me just do the interview and see how it goes.
But see how it goes.
But honestly, the jobs, data analyst role there are many data analyst roles out there. There are
Honestly,
many. There are many. If you sit down and just go online and take your time, you will see that
honestly,
there are many, loads,
honestly,
loads. When I started applying, I said, "Are you serious? There are this much, bro. That's
opportunities with data.
opportunities in data out there. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of people are missing. So honestly, it's something that a lot of people are missing now, and I will advise that please just take this opportunity. If you're out there and you don't know how to start, I will recommend Tech Drive 100%. They will guide you through all the things that you need to do, and you will not be left alone till when you
Safe to
land
journey.
that job. Tech Drive is
Yeah.
there with you till when you land that job. I assure you.
Honestly, honestly, because when I tell people that, oh, January alone we've done 16 interview preps, and I'm like, how are people getting this interview? Like, where, where? But
Of
yeah,
course, yeah.
it just tells you how much opportunity. But anyway, thank you so much for
Yeah,
sharing all of these things. I mean,
yeah,
this is not just going to inspire people who are going to watch the video, even those people on your court that are still trying to like land jobs. This is going to be like an inspiration to be like,
wow,
okay, we did
wow.
training with this guy, he has gotten the job. That means those
Yeah,
of us that
and they should
sleeping,
not
it's
they
time
should
for us
not
to
be
wake up.
scared of rejections. See, I can't even tell you how many rejection emails I got. I can't tell you. I know sometimes I know I watch all of your videos. You say you had like 100 and something.
That
I've
one
not
is
had
normal
much to that,
rejection.
but I've had about maybe 70 or 80 rejections. I start every single mail. Every of those mails, I start them, so I count them like, oh my god, these are the
Imagine,
rejections. So
imagine.
don't be scared of rejections. If you go
Mhm,
for a first interview and you miss it, don't be discouraged. My first,
mhm,
second interview, I didn't land the job, but it was on the
mhm.
third interview that I landed the job.
The job.
So
Mhm.
don't be scared of try. Just keep trying
Keep
and
pushing
believe
on.
in God. Put God in
Mhm.
everything that you do, in every of the jobs you want to apply for, in the
Absolutely.
applications you want to do. Put God first in everything, and
Absolutely.
everything is going to work out fine.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You know what? I'm not going to take one more minute of your time. Thank you so much for sharing this insight. And yeah, I really, really, really do appreciate you.